We will be providing an update on the Clementia's Palovarotene programs. My name is Dr. Donna Grogan. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at Clementia. And along with me, participating in this webcast is Dr. Fred Kaplan, Dr. Robert Pignolo, and Dr. Edward Schau. What we would like to do is take you through some of the slides and to set the stage in terms of what we've learned during the Palovarotene program to date and what are the next steps for this program. So we'll provide some background information in terms of how the studies were designed. The studies have been ongoing now for almost 2 years. So what have we learned during those 24 months? And what are the steps for this program? These studies are still ongoing, and the phase 2 double-blind trial is still blinded, so we won't be sharing full results with you today, but we will be sharing some lessons learned. Before we even start this presentation, all of us at Clementia, at the clinical site, we want to thank you for your participation in our program to date. The study participants, the families, the caregivers, you've given so much of your time and effort, and really without you, none of this could be possible. What we learned from this program will help us understand the potential of Palovarotene as a potential treatment for FOP. But even as important, we commit to sharing these learnings with the FOP community as a whole to foster drug development with even other potential therapeutics. I'd like to turn this over now to Dr. Fred Kaplan.
Thank you. I personally want to thank all the study participants, their families, and caregivers for active participation in this exciting Palovarotene developmental program. What I'd first like to review with you is the objectives of the phase 2 program. The early animal studies showed that Palovarotene could prevent new heterotopic ossification from forming, with higher doses given over a long period of time showing greater prevention. Can we see this effect in humans? The phase 2 program, which includes the double-blind proof of concept study known as 201 and the open-label extension study known as 202, was designed to evaluate whether Palovarotene can prevent new heterotopic ossification at the time of an FOP flare-up, at what doses, and with what side effects. There were many unknowns as we embarked upon this program. There were many things that were not known when we designed these studies. These include, can patients identify a flare-up, contact the study staff at the various sites, be evaluated at the clinical site, and if eligible, be randomized to study drug within 7 days of the start of a new flare-up. Second, what is the best imaging method to determine new heterotopic ossification and the presence of soft tissue edema or swelling? 3, what % of flare-ups result in new heterotopic ossification? 4, are there flare-up characteristics that might be predictive of heterotopic ossification formation? Based on available literature and FOP physician expertise, certain assumptions were made to address these unknowns in order to finalize the design of the studies in which you participated. What have we learned from these studies so far? Yes, we can enroll subjects in a timely manner. 40 subjects enrolled over 21 months with an average age of 22 years, the youngest being 7 years old and the oldest 53 years old. The subjects have come from 13 different countries: the United States, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela, France, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, the Netherlands, Spain, Australia, and India. We learned that travel has included car, airplane, and air ambulance, and we were able to enroll subjects except one within 7 days of the flare-up startup window. What additionally have we learned? We learned that the most common flare-up locations were the hip or thigh, the knee, the shoulder, and the elbows. we learned that subjects reported substantial flare-up symptoms, including in decreasing order, pain, swelling, stiffness, decreased range of motion, and warmth. Over half of all subjects reported at least 4 or more symptoms. We learned that CT scans or CAT scans were the best method of demonstrating heterotopic ossification and much better than X-rays. And we learned that MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is the best method of demonstrating soft tissue swelling or edema, but not all subjects can undergo MRI. Ultrasound is another method being used. And we learned that the current palovarotene dosing regimens appear to be tolerated with no safety issues identified to date. I'm now going to turn the program back over to Dr. Donna Grogan.
Thank you, Dr. Kaplan. So what does this mean for the palovarotene program? What's next? Using what we've learned over the past 2 years, we are proceeding forward with continued dose exploration in our phase 2 program. As you may know, phase 2 programs are designed to explore the different dosing regimens for a particular disease and to further optimize study design with regard to dose, duration, which is all very important before we proceed forward with a definitive phase 3 study. To do this, we are amending the open label extension study, also known as the 202 study, and we're calling this amendment Part B. The additional data that we will be collecting in Part B will be important to the understanding of palovarotene as a potential treatment of FOP. The changes will briefly be discussed on the next few slides. They are also outlined in the brochure that's available entitled Next Steps in Clementia's Clinical Program for Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva. So Part B design. This study will evaluate the safety and efficacy of a chronic dosing regimen, as well as an acute flare-up dosing regimen that is higher in dose and longer in duration than what was previously studied in the phase 2 trials. In this Part B, adults and adolescents who are nearly grown will receive 5 milligrams of palovarotene every day. This chronic dosing will ensure that palovarotene is present in the body before there's recognition of any flare-up symptoms. This daily dosing regimen will not be used currently in children who are still growing until we've collected some preliminary results from the adults. As has been in the past, all reasonable costs associated with participating in the trial will be covered. With regard to flare-up dosing, in Part B, once a flare-up is recognized and confirmed by the investigator, all study subjects, both adults and children, will receive a higher dose of palovarotene and for a longer duration than what has been administered in the previous studies. As in the past, eligible flare-ups are those that occur in the arms, legs, hips, chest, abdomen, neck, or lower back. The dose will be adjusted for growing children based on how much they weigh. For adults, the flare-up dosing regimen will be 20 milligrams once daily for 4 weeks and 10 milligrams once daily for 8 weeks. Should the investigator decide that the flare-up is ongoing at the end of this 12 weeks, the treatment can be extended past this period of time. If the dose is not tolerated, however, should substantial side effects be experienced by the patient, then a lower dose will be administered, and this will be discussed with the patient and the investigator. So what are the most common side effects that we've seen to date with palovarotene, which is a retinoic acid receptor gamma agonist? It is those associated with systemic retinoids and includes those side effects of the mucocutaneous variety, the skin and mucous membranes are involved. And this involves dry skin, redness, flaking or peeling skin, dry lips, mouth, or eyes, or itchiness. These side effects, which are treated with moisturizers or antihistamines, may occur more frequently or be more bothersome with the higher doses of palovarotene. As mentioned, the investigator can lower the dose if side effects cannot be tolerated. In addition, children will continue to be monitored for possible side effects related to growing bones. Who's eligible to participate in Part B? All of the 40 individuals who have completed the Phase 2 trial may enroll into Part B. In addition, up to 20 new adults or teenagers who are nearly grown may also be eligible for enrollment. These 20 new adults need to meet all of the enrollment criteria, a number of which are listed on this slide. For regulatory purposes and requirements, the new 20 subjects need to reside in the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, or France. This is due to shipment of clinical trial material and safety monitoring. The new subjects have to have at least 2 reported flare-ups in the last 2 years, but cannot have had a flare-up within the 4 weeks prior to enrollment. If the participant is under the age of 18, they must have achieved 90% skeletal growth at the time of enrollment, and this is measured by plain X-ray of the wrist. In addition, there has to be some evidence of limitation in joint movement from previous heterotopic ossification, but not full locking. And this will be determined by the principal investigator using a standardized assessment. In addition, the new subjects have to have the most common mutation associated with FOP, the R206H mutation. The assessment schedule is listed on this slide. For those adults receiving chronic treatment, they do receive imaging, physical exam, and various safety procedures at the time of enrollment into Part B, and then remote visits every 3 months while on chronic therapy. For those subjects experiencing an eligible flare-up and receiving palovarotene treatment for that flare-up, the site visits are at the initiation of the flare-up at screening, and then at the end of the 12-week treatment, day 84. All other safety assessments, which occur every 2 weeks while on treatment, will be performed in the subject's home. The clinical sites participating in Part B are located in the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. And these sites will start enrolling into this amended protocol once they have received all necessary approval. We will update the clinicaltrials.gov website with the status of the enrolling sites. But as of June 17th, the University of Pennsylvania and the University of San Francisco are currently enrolling. It's anticipated that the Royal National Orthopedic Hospital in the UK will begin enrolling in early July. And Hôpital Necker in Paris, we are still going through the regulatory approval processes for that site. So they are not currently enrolling. Now, how long will Part B take to complete? It is anticipated that it will take approximately 12 to 24 months to collect the necessary data on the additional flare-ups with these new dosing regimens. Each subject participating in Part B may or may not experience a flare-up during this time frame. The additional 20 new adult subjects to be enrolled into Part B will decrease the length of time it will take to obtain the necessary data. In conclusion, on behalf of the clinical site investigators and Clementia, we would like to sincerely thank the FOP community for their active participation in the Palovarotene development program. Much has been learned, with more to come. The knowledge gained in this program will help determine whether Palovarotene might positively impact the lives of patients living with FOP, and will also help inform the development of other potential treatments for FOP. Thank you very much for your time and attention.